Hello
Live.
and welcome to, yes, we are live on another AI Revolution call with Bryce Smith, head analyst at 10,000 Days Fund.
Hello, everybody.
You guys need to go Google or go to your favorite podcast distributor and check out. Bryce was on an hour-long interview. He was interviewed for an hour by, what's the name of the podcast? From Value to Growth.
Yeah, growth to value, and his podcasts are called multi-bagger nuggets on Spotify and Apple and anywhere else you get your podcast.
Type that in there, Bryce, while I'm introducing John. Multi-bagger nuggets. Check Bryce out. It's a good interview. I've listened to part of it. I need to finish it. I got home at 3 a.m. Friday morning from New York City along with Bryce. Not with Bryce. We were at separate spots, but both got home very late. At any rate, there we go. Multi-bagger nuggets. John D. Oliveira, AI. I was going to go savant. Yeah, I was going to go savant, but we'll go aficionado. I like that because you'll get mad at me if I call you a savant.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Dio has been studying and working the AI revolution for a good 28 years, 29 years. I'm rounding up to 30. So, and I am Cody Willard, the one, the man, the legend, the only, all of the above. I write Trading with Cody, but I also run a hedge fund called 10,000 Days, at which Bryce is the head analyst.
And you write books.
We write books. We write. Bryce and I reread this recently. The How to Predict and Profit from the Fed's Bubbles and Crashes. We published that in 2014. I don't have an actual copy of it anymore. And then I was on Fox the other day, last Wednesday, and the guy interviewing told me that the book I gave him of the Ultimate Tesla book, every time someone comes to his office, they try to steal it. You know, it's available on Amazon, people, for like $9. I think you can afford it. If you're at a Fox headquarters office, you can go buy the book for $9. You don't have to steal Charles' book. Let's talk the AI revolution. John, latest news or any headlines you want to run into, or where you want to start this call today?
Just, it's similar to something we said last time, is that, people are treating it as a dip or a lull or whatever. And while I do kind of feel like there aren't new whole categories happening right now, and for a while there that's all there was. Every day you'd hear something new. It was like a whole new category of something. There's still a lot of activity within the categories that are happening. Like humanoid robotics has a lot going on. You've got Elon with his massive data center that he's building out in Austin. I thought he was putting one up in Louisiana or somewhere like that, but there's the one in Austin that he's building. And there's more open source language models that are performing almost just as well as the paid ones. So there's just things happening on multiple fronts, but there's all the video, AI video stuff, and people are seeing more of that within, all the kind of the deep fakes and cheap fakes and things in the, around the election, and people having fun with that. Just lots going on, but not like the big, GPT-5 kind of breakthrough.
Right, but John, that's sort of the way you framed that and set it up does sort of underscore the fact. Bryce wrote this today in his article of what he learned in New York City last week, that we're probably bigger believers in AI today than I was even a year or say 4 years ago. And this is a guy who's been writing about NVIDIA driving the AI revolution for 8 years. I've owned that stock, and I definitely believe in the AI revolution. But it's been incremental improvements from the ChatGPT moment. Was it 3.0 was the one that they rolled out that was so amazing?
3.5. Yeah,
3.5.
3.5. That's what I wrote, but I changed it when I said it out loud. To the 4.0, not 4.0, but the 4.0 version recently.
For Omni.
Omni, whatever, and Gemini is cool when you Google something, and Google's Gemini AI service, it's cool when you Google something and things, but there's not been a major leap forward. The AI, the LLMs do basically what they did 18 months ago, 2 years ago. Well, I guess not quite 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
They do. They're definitely smarter than they were if you put them up. That's the thing about.
Okay, right. But it's incremental. It's like, yeah, you get better answers. Yeah, they make fewer mistakes. They hallucinate less often. But it's like the mind-blowingness effect hasn't happened since ChatGPT 3.0.
Right. I mean, it's like the big thing, some big things that matter a lot, but people don't kind of think about a lot because it's not like the GPT moment, are the effect that it's having on programming. You know, there's this product called Cursor, and programmers are starting to use it in place of whatever else, and you basically don't have to program anymore. I mean, you're just you know, you're not talking it in, but you describe in English what you want to have happen, and it's making applications like that. Now,
it's not quite making the application, though. That's another point, right? Like, we talked to the guy who runs a startup app company. He's a coder from Harvard, and you know, he's got a team of 8 engineers helping him develop his product, and it's called Dub, by the way. You should check it out. Dub. It's on full disclosure. Bryce and I in the hedge fund invested a tiny amount into this company a year ago, and they're progressing. And we asked him specifically, how much is AI coding helping you and the engineers right now? And his answer, correct me if I'm wrong, Bryce, was it saves an hour or 2 here and there, but it's not like I can go, hey, build this feature for my product and I get to plug it in.
Right. So when was that conversation?
Last Thursday.
And how much of a freaking genius is this guy? Because with most programmers, it has more of an effect than that. So it can actually do a lot.
Sell. Get out now, Bryce.
No,
all right, that's fair.
It can
so
do
John,
a
you
lot.
Yourself, you yourself, you've been coding in various capacities since I met you.
Yeah.
And you yourself, is it getting turnkey-ish, plug-and-play-ish? You tell it, hey, I need this feature for my new. You tell people what you do. You create.
I code for
service videos based video technology based on AI.
No, nothing video. That was my last one. But I do work with you know, the GPT type technologies for financial institutions and everything document based around that, like things like this new regulation happened. Which of our documents have to change? What are the kind of suggested changes to those documents? And if I ask it a question, it can go read all the documents and come back and say, you know, here's what you got to do. And so so my coding is back end. You guess, you know, it's not UI, but it's manipulating text and doing kind of what we call data pipeline stuff. I use AI constantly. I say, you know, I need, you know, a program that does the following, and I give it some bullet points, and I say what I need it to do and what I not need it. Now, you have to be somebody who knows what you need at the finish line to make it happen. But it depends on what kinds of coding that they're doing. But it can do a lot.
So let me show you, for example, here's me. If I can figure out how to share my screen, share entire screen. There we go. Share. Wow, that's deep. All right, here you go. So John, I'm just playing with this last Monday. This is 9 days ago. And I was like, hey, create a downloadable app that runs my Cody GPT. We uploaded 11 years of trading with Cody commentary into a GPT several months ago. So it exists. You go to ChatGPT and type in the Cody GPT. You can search for it and find it. But I was like, I want to run it. I want people to be able to download an app on my Mac. So it's
I don't think it's there.
Hold on. Don't jump ahead. I'm like, download, and it's like, gives me the steps. I'm like, that's great. But I'm like, give me the code, man. So then it's like, all right, create the JavaScript and do this. And I need to go and create a user interface. And then it's like, hey, modify this one line so that it will actually go to the ChatGPT API. By the way, I'm going to have to sign up on ChatGPT. And if you were doing this for a living, I assume you could probably pull this off within an hour or two, right? I mean, I don't code for a living. I've built websites with HTML, but I've never built an app or something. So I stopped. As you can see, I was like, all right, yeah, that's great. And I never went back. But that you're saying it's there. Like you could.
No, I'm not, but you didn't let me say. So no, I'm not saying it's there. I'm saying that it's the type of stuff I do, which is not go create an end-to-end app, but it is write code, like, code that's needed for doing stuff. It is very helpful with that. But to go and make an app like you're talking about, I don't expect it to go end to end. And I don't think if a programmer who does that kind of thing couldn't find it to at least 3x or 4x what they do, I'd be surprised.
Do you expect within 3 to 5 years, I will be able to tell it to even do all those steps for me? I don't want to go create a ChatGPT API. Like that shit's rote. It should be able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, from what I'm hearing, I heard something from somebody in that, like, I think maybe it was an NVIDIA exec or something, but the way they're talking about it, yeah, within a couple of years, it's like, don't be a programmer.
Well, there's the company Cognition, and we even talked to the startup guy that Cody's talking about, referencing. We asked him about that company, and he knows the founders, and he says they're 100% legit, and they were the ones, if you remember, had a video that went viral, I know it was a few months ago, where basically you could make a whole website just from text prompts, and it had the built-in like command to prompt, and it had, it literally just started working and building things and pulling API or whatever. And a lot of people said that video wasn't real. And he acknowledged that, demo videos are not the best. But he says that the technology and what they've got going is legit.
Is that Cognition? Did they make Devin?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw. I mean, I followed the whole.
What do you use, John? What's the best code pro AI that you use?
I mainly use OpenAI, GPT, and there's one called Cody that is built in. Yeah, that's built into. You can use it from within Visual Studio. Everybody uses Visual Studio as just the kind of IDE or development environment. And so these things can get integrated with that. A lot of people use what's the one, Copilot, GitHub Copilot. But now I also go use the one from Claude. Did Claude come out with Sonnet and Opus and that kind of thing? Whatever, the Claude regular like GPT-like interface. I just do it straight from having a dialogue and saying, I'm making a thing. It's like this. I need that, but not that. And paste.
But you'll use. How do you decide whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT? Do you do both at the same time? Sometimes you're like, oh, this one had better answers.
Yeah, I mean, I use GPT until it gets brain dead about something, and then I see if Claude has a better answer for it. And sometimes it does. Sometimes Claude is a little too smart for itself. It'll come back and go, I rearranged all your code because it just seemed like it would be nicer. And I'm like, I didn't ask you to do that. Now put it back where it was.
Hey, John, since they called it Cody, I have a knock-knock joke for you. Knock, knock.
Interrupting cow.
Cody.
Woo. No, wait. You're right.
Everybody knows interrupted cow. It's not that funny, John.
No. Well, yours is going to be funnier. You're going to top interrupted.
Mine is going to be better. At least it's germane to this discussion.
Okay. Who's there?
Cody.
Cody who?
Codependence is not something you want to have in your relationships.
Cody Willard is someone you don't want to have on your call. No, it's yeah, you're right.
Did you notice it took about 10 seconds to think that up?
I
think I might go during this call at one point. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to
make you a knock-knock joke.
To make me a knock-knock joke with the name Cody and see if it'll come up with a better one. John, another thing that we're on the topic here, very germane to this conversation, would be that we were speaking with one of the guys who helps run AI at Google in a different conversation last week. And after talking to him for 30 or 45 minutes, and this is me, Daniel, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I kept asking question after question, and Bryce would be like, wait, but also we have a question about NVIDIA. And then finally, after like 45 minutes, he turns to me, he's like, Cody, are we going to be able to monetize this? Is anybody going to monetize the tens of billions, maybe up to $100 billion they spend buying NVIDIA cluster, buying and building NVIDIA cluster AI centers? And my answer was yes, absolutely. Bryce added to the point that we probably need to get to the next gen Blackwell NVIDIA chipset.
Why was he asking you that? I thought you should have been asking him that.
It's part of my point. He was like, dude, how's Google going to monetize all this? Because they're not doing it yet.
I could say I'm worried, but I was already, so it doesn't make me more worried. I don't have the best things to say there. So if you don't have something nice to say,
I think Bryce and I would both answer it this way. Bryce, please add or correct at will. I think, again, we're at a snapshot in time. This is when you had dial-up AOL, and you were like, yeah, man, someday people are going to be like buying and selling stocks on the internet, and they'll be doing videos on the internet, and they'll be watching movies on the internet. And when I used to say that stuff in 1998, people were like, I don't even know what you're talking about. That makes no sense. IP technology will never do that because it's too much. It's too slow. Won't be able to watch a live stream sports event in HD. That's for sure. HD didn't exist in 98, but you get my point.
Who's he imitating? Is it
basically everybody, every sell side analyst who ever chagrined me? But the point being, I think, look, you fast forward 2 or 3 or 5 years, and they're gonna monetize. They're gonna be making movies. They're gonna do all kinds of amazing stuff. It's actually going to be helpful. It's going to run supply chains and customer service and all kinds of things for small businesses and giant corporations and consumers. And not at $20 a month ChatGPT bullshit model.
That's not the worst model. The ad model is the bullshit model.
The things that give me confidence that it's actually going to happen and be real and material for these companies is like the trends are there, and then the formula's in place. Like everything I've ever read says you got to have the data, you got to have the algorithms, and you got to have the compute. And Google's got all of that. Microsoft sort of has that if you put OpenAI in their bucket. And then Tesla and Meta have that. And then like I have this book, it's an AI textbook that was written in 2016, and they have all these trends in there on how AI has progressed since like the 2000s, even like going way back further, because surprisingly they said deep learning was actually like conceived of as an idea in the 1940s. But like I want to take their scatter plot with the parameters and the compute and everything, and then update it through today. Yeah. And show like even how the rate of change is accelerated, like Cody always talks about. And so given the fact that the trend's there, it's accelerating, and then the formula remains in place for all these big companies, like why does that trend stop? Why does it stop here, even though like we've leveled up?
Why would it possibly stop?
Yeah, why would it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don?
I'm thinking like the step further of how the stuff gets used. Like you were calling out how, in 98, you could be talking about streaming movies or whatever. What can we talk about confidently today with knowledge of what's happened in media and, what could happen with me? Like when Sora came out, which is the AI that lets you make video just with, you describe it with a sentence, woman walking down a Tokyo street at night, and whatever you want to say, and then you've got like a video of that happening, and then the quality of it's been getting up to like 4K, and you get music to go with all this, whatever. the day that thing
People
came out,
actually have 5 fingers on each hand instead of 9.
you know,
things
this, you
like
got to
that.
work your way toward that. But that's the kind of thing where people would say, "Oh, it
never work, man."
That doesn't work."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's going to.
You can only make a 16-second clip, and it doesn't even have a normal human being in it.
There you go.
Yes, but it's literally dial-up AOL 1997, bitch. Come on.
So I was gonna say, I that like the day that came out, I texted my brother, who's a Hollywood producer, and I said, Hollywood's gone in 10 years. It's just there's no Hollywood after 10 years. And I sent him the links to it. He was watching it. He's like, yeah, this is scary. It's a good thing I'll be retired.
Well, and look, I would disagree. I'll take somewhere in between. It's not like Hollywood disappears. There'll still be king makers. There'll be taste makers. There will be people, Ted Kazantzis or whatever the guy at Netflix. I've never said his name once right in my life. He's going to still be picking which movies and series get made and which features of AI are added to make things customizable and personalized for each individual viewer.
But does that take a million people working in an industry in Hollywood? Or is that like, of course, there's people who are, better at it than others or make different things happen.
No, you're right. It'll be, 50 to 70% reduction in manpower required to make a blockbuster movie.
Yeah, more. But anyway, it's just about when it hits. Yeah, it's like you can take some things that you can go like, what do you mean there aren't going to be phone operators who pull out the thing and put the thing in the, which my mother actually did as a job. So, it's like, yeah, how many people do that now for a living?
Zero. Literally from hundreds of thousands of people in the United States to zero. And at the time it was hundreds of thousands of people. There was only 100 million people in the country. So you're talking about like 20 or 30 basis points of 1%, like 0.2% of the entire working population was doing this.
Patching wires and plugging them.
Oh, XT New York City 990? Yes,
Mohawk
let me patch
5?
you through.
Yes, Mohawk 5, 3821.
You know what I need? I've got like my.
But that's the mindset, right? Is to think about.
I need a two-piece hands. I need a telephone from the Andy Griffith show. I mean, like, hello, John. I have another question about AI. Oh, Bryce, will you make a note and order that on eBay? I need an old phone.
Okay.
I'm 100% serious. Don't forget, man.
All right.
It's going to be a good prop for these conversations.
All right.
It'll have Bluetooth and USB and whatever, but it'll look old like the.
On that note, another joke, probably about as funny as my last one. The other day I told Lori, like, hey, I can't find my blue toothbrush anywhere. I see the purple one, and she's like, oh, blue toothbrush. I thought you meant like Bluetooth brush, like a hairbrush that had Bluetooth in it. Like, no, it's a toothbrush. That's the color blue.
No, yeah, you're right. Did that happen?
That really did happen, and it literally was even less funny than my codependence joke.
No, it was actually more funny because it was real. It happened. That's amazing.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay. So,
John, Sora, you can literally go. How do you spell Sora? Sora?
Yeah.
And you can go to Sora.com or Sora.ai or whatever.
OpenAI. I Google.
You go Google Sora video generation right now. You go to the website, you create an account, and it'll make you a 30-second fake video.
No,
AI generated video.
No, they have not released.
I don't think so. No.
So where are these? When I see an AI generated video,
Kling.
Say that again.
KLING. Kling.
That is out. You can actually go there and do it.
Yeah. It's a Chinese company, and it's about as good as what Sora announced. And that's the thing, is like there's 3 of them since OpenAI showed it off and wowed the whole world. It took less than a year for 2 other companies to have stuff that essentially does it at that level.
John, how in the hell is a Chinese-based company getting the chips from NVIDIA that enable that AI generation, video generation?
Number one, I don't think there's any dependency on a particular chip, although like you can instead just have 10 of the slower chips from somebody. But those are the
I
chips
don't know
are
about that,
usually-
John.
What's that?
I'm going to push back on that.
Yeah, you know better. I'm just saying it's not a dependency on that chip. It's like those chips make things faster, but those chips it's not like coded for that chip. That's my point.
You know what? We're going to have to put a.
You think it's coded for that chip?
We're going to put a pin. I think CUDA software from NVIDIA is the layer that most people are going to have to. But that being said, the fact that a Chinese company
Sure.
is doing it is John, we're going to put a pin in this discussion, and we're going to have to come back to it. Bryce, we got some homework. Can you make AI generated videos without an NVIDIA chip? That is the question. We'll need answers.
Okay. I do think that there's a black market for NVIDIA chips in China.
Oh, there is. They're huge. And it's not even that hard to get them. There's been articles in Bloomberg and other places. But that being said, to get scale,
Sure.
but in order for them to have a consumer-facing product, if I can go to Kling right now and millions of people can go to Kling right now and make videos, they have a cluster of NVIDIA H100.
Is there not, John, can they not do it like on Adobe somehow with some advanced version of Photoshop?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, I don't believe so. I mean, they have there's those other ones, like, is it called Runway? That were the
I don't know
ones with like the shorter videos. But really, you're saying, do I need NVIDIA in order to do?
Yeah, well, let's not answer that question right now. I think this is going to require a little bit of research. So will everybody, the hundreds of people watching right now, come back next Monday? We will have better answers. We will not be here for 2 weeks in a row after next Monday. We'll be here next Monday, and then there will be 2-week lag. Bryce and I are headed to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Hong Kong on a 12-day trek starting next Thursday.
I just like to say Abu Dhabi.
It is a great word, Abu Dhabi. And I don't think I say it right. There's an H there. I think you're supposed to be like Abu Dhabi.
That's not where the H is.
My grandmother, who lives in
Abu Dhabi.
That's better.
my grandmother pronounces it as Yabby Dabby.
Now I think you're just going off in a.
No, she really does. She can't.
Which
She
one?
can't. She's a ranch girl from Caballo, New Mexico. So
All right.
she's 80 years old. I cut her some slack.
Yeah. On the other hand, she is one of the people who are most excited about when the Tesla full self-driving actually becomes a robo-taxi and she no longer has to even sit behind the wheel. She will be one of the first to buy the Model 3. By the way, Bryce, you've got to go buy your damn Model 3 now, not in 6 months.
Yeah.
Or not in 3 months. When's the full
October
self-driving day?
October 10th.
You better get your car before October 10th, because if they actually say, hey, we're turning this on in Austin next month, and then the rest of the country over the next year and to 3 as we get permission and regulatory approval, like the price of the Model 3 is going from 30 grand to 50 grand in a month.
Yeah, I've already had other people ask me that know the people that know I like Tesla. They're like, should I be buying Tesla cars and like stockpiling them? Like I'm not the only one that's had that thought.
But you have to buy it you got to pay $5,000 extra for the full self-driving suite for that car, so that when it hits, you turn it on and that car will go make you $30,000 a year, 1 year payback.
I think if you want to make damn sure you want to get the car with the hardware for that started. So anything, I think 2023 or newer, you get hardware 4. And just to make sure, Tesla says it will work with hardware 3, but if you have any doubts, then just get the hardware 4.
Yeah. John, what are you looking at this moment? You still doing the video stuff? Did we
I'm not
lose your
telling.
interest when we talked about full self-driving?
I'm not telling, but I'm really eager for self-driving.
John, does your lovely wife still drive a Model 3, and does it have full self-driving?
Full self-driving as so much as it exists so far?
That's what I mean. She paid for FSD when she bought the car.
Yeah. So we go and we've gone like pretty much door to door, but only once. But because I was like pushing it and say, try it. I want to see, and so we did it. It was great.
She's had that car probably 3 years.
2019, 5 years.
5 years now. Have you noticed, like, when they went from programmed code?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You did notice.
It's like now it's like a person driving. It does things like inch up at the stop sign. She freaks her out because it's like, she's like, wait, I wouldn't have done it that exact way, but it did certainly seem like a person driving.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of Marcy in the fact that I'm always like, this thing, I'll put it on aggressive. What do you call it? Assertive mode. And then the entire time I'm like, I got to take this off. This is too slow. It's
not assertive enough.
I would like to go 20 miles per hour over the speed limit the entire time.
I'm not going to say she speeds, but she accelerates, and she's pretty assertive. And so it's not about whether it's more assertive than her, but it's just not her doing it. She wants to be the one doing it.
Fair enough. Yeah. I actually would prefer it not to be me, but I do want it to drive like a New York City cab driver.
But can you imagine getting older, as I guess it's going to happen? Well, you will. You'll imagine it. I'm starting to imagine it. And it's where you're like, okay, at some point here, I'm not going to be allowed to drive. Like maybe it's not soon, but at some point, right? And if I can have where not only I can still go wherever I want, whenever I want, because this thing can just take me there, and I don't have to like think about I'm giving up my license or something. It's just I'm getting where I want to go, and I'm having the help of a humanoid robot for house chores and reminding me about my medication or whatever the thing is. I think that it can save a ton of money for that kind of elderly care market.
John, you just sort of set up a great question here. All right, humanoid, you get to pick which is going to have the biggest impact on society and therefore also probably the biggest prosperity creator for investors.
B.
Okay, that would be the A is humanoid robots. B is drug discovery / personalized prescriptive drugs. C is full self-driving. And D is large language models doing customer service and customer retention modeling and supply chain management for giant corporations and small businesses. Those are your 4 options, A, B, C, or D.
Here's what I'm gonna say A with the following analogy. Humanoid robots do for AI what the smartphone did for the computer.
Yeah, it makes it usable everywhere.
Right.
Application, like endless applications of it.
Yeah, and I would have maybe said the medical one, except I'm really cynical. After all the talk, like it's really going to go and take off the way they talk about.
No, don't say that. Come on, say it ain't so, Joe.
Probably they'll come out with everything necessary for every human other than me. Whatever it is, my thing is that they'll like, oh, we're going to make that one, Yeah.
Bryce,
I don't know. A,
B, C, or D?
My gut says to go with A, Optimus, but thinking like as big and sci-fi as I can, if AI helps make drugs that like extend the human lifespan by like double or something, or like people can be 200 or 300 years old because there's these amazing drugs that make you live that long, maybe that's a bigger market.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm having my doubts. Is like, or if I put that in the same category, like if I want to say, do I really mean like longevity, or do we just mean, drugs that do a good job with the different diseases that go on?
No, I think it's both. I mean, I
Like
think
like
longevity-
anti-aging, like an anti-aging drug, right? Where you can like
Right.
live like a 25-year-old for 200 years. That
Yeah.
shit would be huge, right?
B. Yeah. Do you guys remember? This is the joke I'll tell. It's not a joke. It just remind you. Do you remember around COVID, there was that little video that came out, and it was the guy was being interviewed, and he said, okay, we're going to have to go into a lockdown for 6 months. You could either A, be locked down with your family, and the guy goes, B. And he's total straight face. He goes, B.
That's funny because for me it's not true.
I
was going to go with A. I'm sticking with A, and here's why. I think it might take longer for the drug discovery and the personalized drugs to not only get developed and tested in reasonably safe ways to get out to the millions and billions of people in the world. And Bryce and I have talked extensively about how, like, while full self-driving might be closer than the humanoid robot Optimus or otherwise from China or anywhere else, the regulations around selling a humanoid robot are, an order of magnitude or 2 orders of magnitude smaller than the regulations around a 70, 80 mile per hour, 3,000 pound robot on wheels zooming around and potentially crashing or running over people.
So yeah, here's one other consideration, which I like to cheat and get 2 answers out of 1, which is if this humanoid robot is out in the world and there's, 1 million, 1 billion of them, whatever, these things are going to be interacting in the world, and they're going to be getting smarter and smarter in all whichever way. And they get the GPT kind of stuff happening, in them, and they're off talking to each other, and they start inventing the necessary science for longevity and so forth. So there's a thing that just came out 2 weeks ago, maybe, called AI Scientist. And it's it's software, it's a technology, but it's about how all these language models are not very creative. They're not coming up with new discoveries. But this software, and it goes and explains how, is hypothesizing something and trying it out and seeing whatever and coming up with something against it, and then going out and then writing research papers and looking at existing research papers for the gaps for what's known and not known. And it like, you talk about end to end, get an application. This thing end to end gets research done that is getting close to like indistinguishable from, did this come from human research scientists or from AI? Well, if we're doing that, then we're about to have some breakthroughs.
And that's what, again,
Exciting.
it's very exciting when we step back and we realize again that we are in the 18-month, 2-year time, years of, like, the amount of time that this latest actual AI-ish thing exists is less than 2 years. Less than 2 years. John, you and I in 1996 used the computers at the computer lab at University of New Mexico to send emails. And it was amazing. And we were like, yeah, someday you'll be doing lots more stuff on here. And that's where the acceleration of innovation is amazing, because it did take 10, 12 years after you and I started using email at UNM for the smartphone to come along. And then it took another 5 or 7 years for an LTE to be ubiquitous around so that everybody could live stream and send social media videos to each other and everything that we do, and Netflix, etc. And then it took another 5 or 7 years, 10 years for AI as we currently know it to come along, but it will have the innovations in AI and what NVIDIA is doing will accelerate, not
It accelerates. It does. You know, you just reminded me of when we were at University of Mexico. I had a graduate assistantship, whatever, job working as the bulletin board manager for the Native American network. So this was a bulletin board was the old way that it was on dial-up from a bunch of people's computers. They would call into one computer, and that's where they would do their chatting with each other and everything before you had, you know, Reddit or whatever. And so I sat in this little room, which was like just a broom closet with a couple computers in it, and managed this bulletin board thing on the one side, and on the other side had a Unix computer there that was running Netscape, which was the first browser, and the web was so small you could know all of it.
Bryce, who invented Netscape?
Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz.
Man, he is good. No, not Ben Horowitz, just Andreessen.
Just Andreessen.
He partnered with
Really?
Horowitz to start the VC firm. But you
I
still
thought,
get
I,
full
thought,
credit.
I thought Ben Horowitz is in on it.
I do not believe so. John?
Another thing we'll look up. We'll have an answer for everybody next week.
Next week, come back, we'll know. You guys can Google it or ask ChatGPT. Oh, let's just do it. Let's just see. Hey Siri, who invented Netscape?
Netscape Communications Corporation.
James H. Clark.
Mark Andreessen and James H. Clark.
James H. Clark, not Horowitz, but James H. Clark is another badass. Is he still around? Let's see. He is. He ran Silicon Graphics, Netscape, MyCFO, and Healthion. He's like Bryce, who runs C3 AI? Siebel?
Yeah, Tom Siebel.
Yeah. Clark is like an ethical version of Tom Siebel. Like if Tom Siebel wasn't a scumbag, that would be Clark.
Mm.
Yeah. I wanted you guys to laugh at the fact I was calling Tom Siebel not ethical without saying it.
No, I was going to go there about him as well. So
In 1995, Ben Horowitz joined Mark Andreessen and Netscape as a product managers, but he did not co-found it.
You know what? You're still getting full credit now. Like the fact that Horowitz was with Andreessen gives you full credit, Bryce.
Yeah.
All right. Last questions or comments. We're 45 minutes in. We're not going for an hour and a half.
we have
today.
not reached AGI because I just tried to get the Cody knock and I got some weird answers. Knock.
Oh, yeah,
Who's there?
do
Cody. Cody who? Cody need a jacket. It's freezing out here. Knock. Who's there? Cody. Cody who? Cody fine, but could you open the door already?
Those are funny because they're not funny.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be our test for AGI.
Knock.
All right, who's
Oh,
there?
this one's it's going to work. It's going to work. It's not terrible.
Who's there?
Knock.
Who's there?
Cody.
Cody who?
Cody, didn't you hear me knocking?
You promised it was going to be good.
It was.
That
I
was-
said it was almost good. Couldn't you?
But I've done some interesting things with words and having it do things like, my nephew owns racehorses. And so I was on with my sister and she's like, come up with some names for racehorses and stuff. And it was like,
That's funny.
baseball related. It did well.
Come on, quit using Cody as could. Every joke it's doing, it's like you trying to make Cody could. Oh my God, this is bad. All right, I have a daughter named Amaris. We've been calling her Amaris for 9 years, and I made up this knock joke about 3 months ago. It might be the best joke I ever made. You better laugh, John. Knock.
So is this what's become of us?
This is
Oh,
what's
sorry. No. Who's there?
Amaris.
Amaris who?
A mare is good to have if you're trying to breed horses. Good night, everybody. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
No, I had a better one. We used to. Oh, what was it?
You didn't laugh.
Knock.
Thank you for
What
laughing,
was it?
Bryce, even though you didn't mean it.
No.
No, that was funny. I liked it.
You ever seen the episode? You guys watch Sopranos, of course. There's an episode where Tony goes home and tells his wife a joke, and she's like, "That's not funny." He's like, "Well, I told it at the Bing or whatever, the strip club where all my boys work with me, and they all thought it was hilarious." And she's like, "They have to laugh at your jokes. You're their boss." That's why Bryce just laughed at my
one of
America's joke.
my youngest memories, because I don't have many young memories. I'm sitting in the back of the car and I said to my father, I said, use the word harassment in a sentence. And he says, "Well, I don't know what," and we'll just leave it at that.
I think his ass meant to make a really funny joke out of the word harassment.
No, you just says harassment a great deal to me. That's just
That's what
you turned it into his ass, which is just, I don't know why you go there. It's not even natural.
Because you
and
said you didn't want to finish the joke, so look,
I should have just.
this is the
finished it.
worst ending to an AI call we ever had. I apologize to all of you watching. Next week we will be here and we're going to talk a lot more about robotics. We probably, you know what, we're being remiss. Let's finish this real quick. You guys saw the news where in China there was some like robotics or AI convention or something, and there was like 18 or 20 different startup robotics companies.
Unitary looks really good.
With women looking robots, some of whom were anatomically getting corrected, getting closer.
I didn't see those ones, but I saw Unitary and stuff like that. Which,
maybe it's my algorithm, but there were about 27 examples of these sexy robotics women.
Unitary one, did you see? It does like what's it called? A pirouette, like where it jumps around like a ballet move. And it's like pretty skilled. But again, it comes down to the brain. What can it like? Can it understand the world?
It does not. That was programming. That is not AI.
More and more, they're doing these moves not by programming it, but by mimicking.
Correct. But I don't believe that the company that you're using as an example actually did that.
Yeah.
Optimus is doing it legitimately, and so are others. Hey, Bryce, what's the fraud one? Archer guy.
Figure One. Brad,
Oh my God, it's not fraud. Fraud was his last company.
Oh, yeah.
This is
I would tend to agree with you, John, except that he's always shit talking Elon on Twitter about how much better Figure One is and stuff.
They
I'm
have
just
to
like,
go
nah,
up against
dude. Like,
each
if
other.
you're really that much better,
Too much. He does protest too much.
You don't need to be out on Twitter talking shit to Elon.
Yeah.
All right.
And the fact that you ran a fraud before. I mean, that's a problem. Let's just put it this way. I'm not investing in Figure, probably under any circumstance. I once said that about Tesla.
Yeah.
I mean, full disclosure, we don't know that Archer and Figure One are frauds for all you people watching, but that is.
Of course they're not.
No, they're definitely not. I was just saying this.
And then you go turn
Do
it
your
into
own homework, not investment advice.
Yeah.
It's not
Price
a fraud.
put a disclosure.
You may not
grab our
like it.
disclosure and put it on there.
Yeah.
You may not be your favorite, whatever, but it does what it does. They're not faking what it does.
I'm not willing to say that
Anymore
I
than
think
anyone else.
I've seen Nikola, the hydrogen vehicle company, roll semis down a hill and pretend that it was using hydrogen, and then GM invested $3 billion at a $50 billion market cap valuation at Nikola, and it's now $500 million market cap on its way to zero because why, Bryce? The CEO was a fraud and he's going to prison.
Yeah.
For the record, we were short Nikola off and on the entire time. And we might have lost money shorting it because shorting is hard. Have to time it.
You got to work on not letting your real self come through.
Never. I got nothing but me, man. And this is John, me, the whole guy. I'm all like I'm just faking it as well as I can. This isn't me. That you should see who the real me is. It's a problem.
Someday. Yeah, someday.
Amaris loves the real me. Lincoln loves the real me. You guys might get annoyed.
Because my dog thinks I'm cool.
That's awesome. I was thinking about your Marcy's lab.
1995 Albuquerque. She had a big old yellow lab that was a great dog.
Alex.
Remember?
Yeah.
Alex.
It was a girl named Alex. Yeah. That was her first dog. She had that dog before she had me.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a good dog.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought of that the other day, but I did. All right. Peace and love, guys. Thanks for being here. We'll be back next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific.
We'll see.
You better, don't you say that. You better be here. I just promised.
I'll be away, but maybe I'll be. You never say publicly to the whole world you're going to be. There's going to be somebody here. There'll be sitting at the door, but
John, I'm playing Rosie's Pizza in Carrizozo, New Mexico as a solo artist on Friday night. Apparently, I agreed to do that 3 months ago, and someone called me today and said, I'm very excited to see you play. And I was like, I didn't know I was.
wow.
So I'm going to have to practice that guitar right there.
I don't think
before
there's
I
enough time.
Yeah. I wish I could sing like Bryce and you. Then I'd be all right.
Bring Bryce along. Let him do the singing.
It's too far. Friday nights. He's got to be somewhere like in Las Cruces meeting single women or going on a date with whoever he's talking to or something. He doesn't need to be in Carrizozo entertaining the 80-year-old.
Not my favorite place to be on a Friday.
Carrizozo is a close second to Abu Dhabi.
Technically, this is true. Carrizozo is the hedge fund capital of the entire world on a per capita basis. Good night, everybody. Thank you. We will see you next Monday.